Hey book nerds, welcome to my channel, dbooknerd. My name is Denise, and as you can see, I have a special guest. It's Toni from Toni Reads. What's up, Toni?
What's up, Denise, the book nerd? What's up, everybody?
So the reason why we are together on this video is because we're going to be talking about Frieda McFadden's The Crash. This book recently came out. What was it in February 4th or something like that?
January 28th.
January 20th, I was all off. January 28th. And so, of course, all people that are Freedom McFadden fans, it was a big deal. Me and Toni wanted to read it together, so we did a buddy read, and we wanted to discuss it together. So the first part, and we'll show you a timestamp in this video or in the description or something like that. We're going to show you a timestamp when it's going to start being when we're going to start talking about spoilers, okay? So the first part, we're just going to give a brief synopsis. It's going to be spoil free for those that haven't read the book yet. And then later on, when we'll let you know, we're going to start talking spoilers, okay? So where should we start? Where do you think we should start?
We could just start from the very beginning, kind of like talk about the main character. So it starts
Okay.
off, and correct me if I'm wrong, I'm the type, I know you real bookish people, you guys remember books, the whole thing for months and months.
Oh
I don't.
no.
After I read a book, 3 days later, I've kind of forgotten. I
Right,
did just look
right.
back on my Kindle, and so the main character, her name, is it Tegan or Tegan?
I believe it's Tegan.
Tegan,
That's
okay.
how I would pronounce it. Yes.
So, so Frieda McFadden is known. She always does like a prologue. That's what it's called, right? A prologue.
Mhm.
And so it starts off. Somebody is talking, and they're like,
This is the spoiled free part.
"Yeah, this is spoil free."
Okay.
Somebody is talking, and they're saying, I, I'm trying to decide if I'm gonna kill this person. I didn't know they'd be struggling that much, And then
Right.
pretty soon it's like, oops, you know, time's up. I did kill him, or something of that nature, right?
Right, right.
Okay.
So I'll just ask you, how did you feel about the book overall?
For me, it wasn't Frida's best, but it wasn't the worst. I didn't love
Okay.
it, but I definitely liked it and I recommend it
Mhm.
to people. I won't say it was the strongest plot twist to me. Um,
Right. Okay.
at the same time, not predictable, but it wasn't like I just had better, basically.
Right, right. Okay. So I'm just going to kind of describe the book, even though probably a lot of you already know about it. But the book is about the main character is Tegan. Tegan is pregnant and she's had like a lot of bad stuff happen in her life. And so with her being pregnant, like really close to delivery and all upset and everything, she decides to go visit her brother. On the way to visit her brother, there's a snowstorm. Tegan gets in a crash. Some man picks her up. He takes her to a house with his wife. So there's this couple, and they're taking care of Tegan. Okay, because she can't get to the hospital at that point. So they're taking care of Tegan, and then all these some strange things are going on. It's not right. What's going on in that house and with Tegan there and everything. So she's pretty much trapped there. And then it has, again, like Toni said, it has some twists. And I agree that I did not feel the twists. If there were twists, but they weren't that, whoa, like I didn't get that. Like a lot of times I read her books is like, how did she even think of something like, weave that together or whatever. So it didn't, quite have that. Um, but it was good. So it, definitely was good. If you like thrillers that are based in like one place mostly, so somebody's trapped in a room and they're pregnant and all of that kind of thing, you're gonna like it. It gives me Misery vibes. So
Yeah, definitely.
if you read Misery by Stephen King or saw the movie, it kind of gives you those vibes a little bit. So that's just my brief overview of the book. You want to add anything?
Yeah, it's kind of along the lines of what you said. Some of the parts that I didn't like about the book is, number one, I didn't think the plot twist was that strong. And number
Mm-hmm.
two is, like you kind of said, a lot, or the majority of the book takes place in the same place.
Right.
And so I don't like that. I like a little bit more movement. And also, this is just a personal thing with me. I don't like books when the woman is pregnant. And I don't know
Mm-hmm.
why I don't have anything against pregnant women or anything like that. I just don't like
Mm-hmm.
books like, cause I feel like they're kind of not the underdog. How do you kind of say they don't have enough leverage or something? I don't know. That's what I want to
Right. Right.
say. And in addition to her being pregnant, something else happens and she's handicapped in a way.
Right. Right.
I don't know if that word is politically correct.
Yeah.
Not meaning she was born with a disability, meaning something happens to her.
Right.
Doesn't
Right.
have a lot of leverage. I don't like that.
Right.
Misery made me mad. I just don't like it.
Right.
So yeah.
Exactly. And I think that's the whole point of the book. She's trapped on every end, She just and so I don't like that either. So that's a type of I guess plot you would say or whatever. That's not one I don't like movies where people are kidnapped and trapped in a closet, with kids, especially kids, pregnant people. I don't like anything like that.
Hmm.
Um and again, this isn't to say the book is not good, because if you
No.
like that, this is your book.
Right.
This
Right.
is it, because it gives you that tension and makes you mad. You want to just reach in and save the main character and all of that. Um, so that that's what it does. But yeah, I'm like you. I don't like. I think you might have said it on one of your videos. You said if this wasn't a Frieda McFadden book, you probably wouldn't even have chosen, and I wouldn't either, because
I
I
would never
just
read it. Even
trapped
when
in
they first
storm.
said it was
Yeah,
coming out and I read
right,
what it was about, I was like, eh.
right,
I
right,
really did. I only read it because it's Freedom McFadden. Truth.
right, right. And it's written in Frieda McFadden fashion. The short chapters, um, medium paced. It's not super fast paced. And again, I think it's because you just kind of have this one thing happening. Not one thing happening, but you're in this one space, so it makes it feel longer. But it does everything with Freida McFadden, and the great thing about her and her writing is everything is for a reason, and it all has to play out. And so even though I might be getting a little bored with this part, it's needed. So you just
Hmm.
have to be patient. And not all of her, some of her books are more, like that. But this one is like, I forgot the other one that I read that was kind of like that. I think it was the boyfriend.
Hmm.
So you just got to be patient, and it pays off, and it makes sense.
Right.
And if you like that, that's great. And we're not dogging this book at all. I gave it, I think, like a 3.75
Yeah.
stars, which is above average. But yeah, just yeah, that's how I felt about it. So
Okay.
anything else you want to add about it in terms of pace, in terms of care? How do you like the characters?
I honestly, and this happens actually in a lot of Freedom McFadden's books, I did not like the main character, Tegan. I didn't like her at
Okay.
all. But I didn't like Millie in The Housemaid, but I still like the Housemaid books.
Right,
It
right.
has nothing to do with it. I just like, if I knew that person in real life, I wouldn't like them, or they're annoying, or,
Right,
whatever the
right.
case may be.
Yeah, yeah. I think Freida McFadden, excuse me, I think she's good at making characters. Just because they're the main character doesn't make them perfect and lovable and everything. I think that I kind of liked, well, this is going to, we'll talk about that more in the spoilers.
Hmm.
I kind of like Tegan, but there are some things that I didn't. So maybe it's time for us to move into the spoilers.
Yeah, I think that's more exciting because I feel like I'm biting my tongue because I can't
Right.
literally say, I'm not good. You're better at me in telling stories without giving it away. In my
Uh-huh.
videos, you'll notice I don't really say much because I'm just like, oh, it's a good book, because sometimes
Right.
you talk without saying the good stuff. So,
Right, right. Okay. So this is a segue. If you have not read the book, now is the time to turn this video off. Thank you for watching. Be blessed and be book nerdy.
or if you don't mind spoilers, some people don't mind, just
Right,
stay
that's
on.
true. Yeah, yeah, you can stay on.
This
But if
is our
you,
version of the story or whatever. So,
yeah, our version of the story. So again, if you don't want to hear spoilers, now is the time to turn it off. And if you don't mind, or if you've already read it and you want to join in this conversation and talk spoilers, let's go. Now I'm like at a loss for words.
No, I want to start it because you
Yeah.
left off, I guess you guys a spoiler, some very important
Hmm.
details in the very beginning because you kind of
Hmm.
started with Tegan was going to go visit her brother and there was a snowstorm and she crashed.
Right,
That's
right,
really not the beginning. The real beginning,
right.
sorry,
Yeah.
D-Book Nerd, sorry, Denise. The
That's
real
fine.
beginning, the real beginning is Tegan. She's coming home from work. She works at a grocery store. She's just down on her luck. I know you said this. She's poor, whatever. She's coming home. It's dark. She sees a man standing in the doorway. Can't
Hmm.
make out who it is. Finally, when she gets up close, she realizes it's Jackson.
Right.
Jackson is an attorney. And
Hmm.
the reason why this attorney's coming around stuff is only to do business. He's a very nice guy and everything, but it's really to take care of business. And the business is that, like as you stated earlier, Tegan's 8 months pregnant. Um, she didn't. I might not be telling you. Might want to jump in on this part. She doesn't have a boyfriend. She barely knows who this baby daddy is.
Right.
And this lawyer is here to have her sign a contract because if she signs a non-disclosure agreement and no one
Hmm.
else knows about who the father of this baby is, she gets like all this money and her and the baby's gonna be set for life. Did I have
Like
that part
split
right?
stick. Yeah.
Okay.
Right. So they're going to be really set. Okay. Yeah. And so Jackson, he's the attorney. You have Tegan. Tegan is only like 23 years old. Tegan is young. So you have to keep that in mind when you're reading it too. I think Frieda McFadden is really trying to make her have a mind, and not this is no disrespect to 23-year-olds, but she's trying to make her young and maybe a little naive or something like that, I think. And maybe not the best job of that, maybe made her a little too, not all 23-year-olds are like that or something. And that's what was irritating about her.
Mm-hmm.
Some of her conclusions, I guess I would say.
Mm-hmm.
So, do you want to say what happens with Tegan?
No, you go
And
ahead. You go ahead.
okay, because this part is disturbing. So, trigger warning, if you already read it, you already know. So, Tegan believes that she had a drunken one night stand with this older rich man. However, she doesn't remember what happened. I don't even know if she really remembers like the last name or anything like that. And so she's thinking, uh, did she find out he was married? I think she did.
She didn't know his name. She literally didn't know his name at all. She was flirting with him at a bar because
Right,
remember her and her friend stopped at that bar.
right, right,
All of a sudden, she was having drinks and everything, and she looked around. I think the last thing she remembers is like walking to her hotel room or a
right,
hotel
right,
room or something like that. And that was pretty much it.
right,
As far as
right.
this guy, I don't think she knew like anything else and didn't remember anything else.
Exactly. So how did she end up finding him? So Jackson, this guy's name is Simon.
Simon Lamar. I like
Simon
that
Lamar.
name. That's why I always remember it.
That name is
Um,
cool.
this
Yeah.
is this is Denise. This is why it needs two of us to do this kind of video. Is because
Right.
you be forgetting stuff that I remember, and I remember. I mean, I forget stuff that you remember.
Right.
Okay, the how she found out, she didn't even know. She just sitting up there, knocked up, don't even know who
Right.
the dad is for
Right.
months,
Right.
months, months. All of a sudden, she's watching the news, and there's this
That's
wealthy
right.
businessman on the news,
Yeah.
and she looking. She's like, did it come to her or something like that? No, he
I
looked familiar. She remembered what he looked like.
right. She remembered what he looked like, but
Yeah,
didn't know his name.
exactly. She remembered what he looked like,
Yeah.
but she
So
didn't
she
know his
was like,
name.
that's oh
Mm-hmm.
boy. Yeah.
Right, right. And that's how she got his name and everything. And then she went to go, basically tell him the
Right.
news that he has a kid on the way.
Mm-hmm.
And he did not like that at all.
Right. He didn't like it at all.
He was
And so,
married already with two kids of his own. Plus, he's this
mm,
popular, wealthy businessman stuff. He didn't need no sideline kids or whatever.
right,
Right,
right. He didn't want to ruin his image.
right.
So
So
that's
that's,
where Jackson comes in.
yes,
Okay.
yes.
That's right. See, we work well together on this.
Mm-hmm.
You talk about everybody doesn't, some people might, everybody doesn't remember the books. It's like, I'm like, what? I'm like her now. I don't remember like a whole chunk or something. But she still didn't remember the night. She
Right.
didn't remember if it was romantic or anything, but she would keep having these dreams of seeing his face close to her face. And it was
Mm-hmm.
like unsettling in her dreams. So, um, her brother's all excited that she's going to be getting this money. He's, excited about it. And she's supposed to. And so then when she's about to sign the paperwork with Jackson and Simon Lamar's there, and Simon's being all rude and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Something he did, his cologne,
Mm-hmm.
the smell of it, I think it was the smell of his cologne, it brought back her memory.
Mm-hmm.
So she remembered, and this is the trigger warning, that actually she was like maybe he had put something in her drink, and she remembers his face above her because he violated her.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and she was remember herself saying stop, or
yes,
whatever. And
yes.
mm-hmm.
So I didn't like that part either.
No.
And it's not like it shouldn't have been there. Like Frieda McFadden shouldn't have did that. It was just I didn't want to read that. And she didn't go into deep description. Not
Mm-hmm.
really. I know a little bit, but I just didn't want to read that. So that was real sad. So she finds that out. She blurts it out to Jackson. And Jackson's like, what? And she's like, you believe me, right? And we're just really, and I don't know why I'm telling it verbatim if you already read it. You don't need to hear all this because you already know.
Right.
But Jackson, act like he kind of believed Lamar Simon. And she got really upset about that. And he was still like, just sign this paperwork so that you can get this money. And she's like, she's going to the police. And and so Simon's getting all mad about that and everything. And, to her, and I respect that, she's like, all money's not good money. So she wanted to stop him so he could never do that to anybody else.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot of people who wouldn't make that choice.
Definitely.
Now she's gonna stay broke. She got this baby that she can't afford.
Right.
She can't go. Remember, she wanted to go to nursing school. She doesn't get to do that.
Right.
And all because she wants justice. I'm just sitting here talking down the line. Right. I'm not saying her decision was dumb or it was smart or anything.
Right.
A lot of people would have just still took the money.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Happens all the time.
Mm-hmm. And I'm not even, that's their choice.
Right. Whatever you can live with psychologically, right, spiritually, whatever. Mm-hmm. So, but yeah, but I respect her decision for that. But so that's when she was upset. She called her brother. He's like, about to get the money. He's all excited for her and everything. She's like, no. And he's like, why? And she's like, I don't want to talk about it and all this. And then he's just like, come on down, and relax. And maybe even like have the baby there and he'll help with a little bit and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So she drives, and that's when she gets in the car wreck. And then this man named Hank picks her up. And
let's describe Hank.
Yes, that's what I was just thinking.
Okay, you go ahead.
No, you describe him.
Well, no, he's just a big old giant burly man. I think he was described as being like 6'3" or 6'5". Mm-hmm. Very big, like his arms looked like logs and stuff. Yeah. He had a beard that covered the majority of his face. Mm-hmm. He drove a big old truck or whatever. And he just looked like, scary. Right. So I think they did a good description of Hank. I mean, Frieda McFadden did a good description of Hank. Maybe even a little stereotypical, Some people might think, that's, not fair, because she was like freaked out at him, which is understandable being what happened to her. She's on this road alone. This man is coming to save her. She doesn't know if he's really trying to save her or not, So anyway, he does. And they end up at the house, and then she meets his wife, Polly. And I also want to point out that from that car accident, she actually got hurt. Yes, very bad. Her right leg, she already had problems with her right leg anyway, but mm-hmm. then her left leg actually got hurt really, really bad. Right. Like it was excruciating pain. Yeah. She couldn't even walk. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Couldn't walk. I almost couldn't even get out the car because she was kind of stuck in there. And Hank, I see Hank as a gentle giant. But of course, because it's a Frieda McFadden book, and this is what I did like, you don't know Hank. Right. Like, we don't know him. And so, and it gives you a good example of stereotypes. You see a big burly man that's silent a lot. Mm-hmm. So now I don't know what he's thinking. So now you're going to assume the worst.
So I think that was a good part of the book because you just did not know Hank. And another good part about this book is you didn't know anybody.
No.
Like you, the way she twists, and then when she does the different POVs, point of views, was pretty good.
Yeah, definitely.
Because then we meet Polly.
Mm-hmm.
Polly seems all nice. This is the wife, chipper. She used to be a nurse. She's going to take care of her. She can't get out until the next day because the phones are down and all of this. And um, the snow plows haven't come. So she puts her in the basement where her mom used to be. They have a hospital bed and all of that in there. What's your description of Polly at this point?
At this point, I thought she was somebody that was real skinny, probably 5'3",
Right.
just real weaselly, really weak.
Uh-huh.
A pushover, very submissive.
Right, right.
That's what she looked like in my
Right.
mind.
And that's what Tegan saw her as too.
Mm-hmm.
So, Holly's the one taking care of me. She's nice. There's this big scary man upstairs, and then you see Tegan sees a bruise on Polly's wrist, and so then she thinks, "Oh God, he's abusing her. He's a bad guy. Not only do I need to get out of here, I got to help her too." So then uh, we kind of, but then Polly keeps not wanting to let her go. The phones stay down, the plow hasn't come. There's all these excuses. In Tegan's mind, she sees this as him manipulating Polly.
Mm-hmm.
In my mind, as I'm reading this, I'm like, oh no, Polly, this is because you're trying to figure it out on your own. I'm like, oh no, Polly is the crazy one, either two with Hank, or it's not Polly at all, or maybe none of them are crazy. Like we don't know. So that's how I was at that point. Hello?
Yeah, I'm still here. I'm thinking
Oh, they're like, oh, they're like,
about what happens next. Well, then it starts like you said. So she's stranded down in the basement. She's feeling Tegan's feeling all sorry for Polly, thinking that she's being abused, and she can't make out words she hears upstairs. She just hears like when Hank is walking around, it's just like thunder,
right.
kind of crazy stuff. But she does notice like Polly makes her really good food and stuff all the time. Makes sure she
That food seemed good.
However, she had like the pain was excruciating, and she asked Polly for some pain meds or something.
Mm-hmm.
And Polly's like, "I'll give you, a couple of Tylenol or whatever. That's all you get to take, or something of that nature."
Right.
And Tegan got kind of mad. Seemed like to me, if I'm
Right.
remembering correctly, she
Yeah.
wanted something stronger. Polly's like, "You can't take anything stronger or whatever, because then you'll go in the baby system or whatever."
Right.
And then didn't Tegan end up saying, "Okay, well, I'll just take the Tylenol or something like that," right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then also, didn't she notice that like whenever Polly would bring her food like for dinner or something, she would sleep like all the way to the next day?
Yeah. That happened too.
Yeah.
And for me, Tegan still had full trust in her.
Mm-hmm.
For me, I'm like giving her the side eye because I felt like she said judgy like words to her.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, trying to find out if she's married and saying, well, you wouldn't hurt the baby, would you? While this girl's ankle is broken.
Right.
It's
Right.
not only broken, you find out later that the skin is broke
Mm-hmm.
and it's disgusting, and all of that. So Tegan's still in La La Land. She's determined to think Polly is for her and Hank is bad. So
She even does things like she tries to get Polly to talk to her and say things. And Tegan's thinking in her little twisted mind, I'm a band together with her and we're gonna both stop Hank and
right.
her, get her in an abuse shelter or something. Didn't she say some crazy stuff like
Yeah,
that or
yeah.
too? Just
And
all this
Polly
stuff.
was like, what? Because she didn't like anybody talking about Hank.
Exactly. And even
Tegan's
when they
mind,
go ahead.
and Tegan's mind is because she's scared of Hank. And Polly's mind is like, no, Hank is down for me. Hank ain't doing nothing wrong.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And
So
Polly even kind of laughs to herself when they show it from like her point of view.
right.
She's like, she goes, I can't believe Tegan is scared of Hank. Basically
Right.
like he's a big old giant teddy bear.
Yeah. Yep. So I like that part too. And then I like when we see Polly, because now I'm getting suspicious of Polly, but then we see from Polly's point of view, she's this nice woman that helps the little girl across the way, that doesn't have food, and it is with truly a dad that's abusive and an alcoholic. She feeds her food, but she's always crossing the line. Like he keeps telling her, I know you were in that crazy house. That's what the man says to her. But she's going to take care of that girl no matter what. So she sneaks her and, gives her a bath, gives her good food, sneaks food over and puts it on the porch, whatever. And so then you just see Polly as this Holly homemaker. She's making these good meals they seem like they tasted so good.
I know.
And then we see her basically running Hank.
Exactly. It's like really the other way around than what,
And Hank, he was pretty soon like, why is she still down there? We can take her to the hospital now. And she's basically saying, she's a nurse and she knows what to do. And Tegan really wants to stay. So.
And that was all a lie.
Right.
Tegan, every time Polly came downstairs to bring her food or whatever, she's like, did the plows come yet? Did the plows come yet?
Right.
Electricity back yet?
Right. Yeah. And then we did, from Polly's point of view, we find out that she took Tegan's phone and her mace that she had, her pepper spray that she had in her purse. And you kind of at first think she took it because she just thinks she's doing it for her own good. But then as you get to know Polly, that wasn't it. So I thought she did a real good job, because we're going so long. She did a real good job of these characters. Like, you're thinking, oh yeah, she's cool. Oh, maybe she's not. Oh, he does seem kind of mysterious. Oh no, he's the decent one or whatever. So I think that was really good.
Yeah, definitely.
And this is where it kind of drags, because you just have her in there. It's actually not that many days, but it feels like it's like a month to me. Like like she's been down there so long. It's just she's in pain. Polly's telling her the plows didn't come. Hank is upstairs saying we need to let her go. Polly basically threatens him and is like, if you try to go to the police or take her, one point she said, I'm gonna kill myself. And Polly she couldn't have children, and then they tried to adopt. She couldn't even adopt. So she was just really low. She really wanted a baby. And so in Polly's mind, Tegan's going to be there, have the baby. She's going to take it because Tegan doesn't know what she's doing. She's too young. She'll take pain medication for a broken, infected foot. What a horrible person,
Remember, she also found that flask. It was really the brothers, and Tegan was just had it in her purse to bring it back to him. Yeah, it had liquor in it or whatever, and Polly found it, and she thought Tegan was still drinking and all that stuff.
Right.
So
yeah.
She thought she was totally an unfit mother, thought she didn't really, she suspected all along, because Tegan had lied and said that she had a husband, but Polly had suspected all along that she was lying and didn't have a husband.
Right.
Basically didn't have anything, just, whatever.
And then the brother actually comes looking for her. And Polly was real slick with it and not, giving out any information. And he ends up, he's just like, well, if you see somebody, her, she looks like this, please let, the authorities know, or me or whatever. And Polly never even knew her brother was there, and he was looking.
I mean, Tegan didn't know.
Yeah, Tegan. Here I go. So this is, it kind of just drags. So you just have this stuff happening. The policeman came by looking, and she's not here, and all of that. So then what happens next? We need to probably wrap it up, but.
Yeah, well, Tegan's totally getting sick of it now. She's just, I want to go. She can tell something's going on with her leg and everything. So she gets desperate and she starts doing stuff. And I don't know what order she did the things in, but one time, Polly had brought her down some food stuff. She stabbed her in the hand with a fork.
Yeah.
She also, Tegan found a lighter that she had in her purse or whatever. She tried to set the house on fire. I know that sounds desperate and everything, but it was a desperate hope that the alarms would go off and then the fire department would come and find out that she's there or whatever. She's really taking a risk. That didn't work. And then she had a syringe. She found a syringe in the bathroom.
That's right.
Was she gonna try to stab
Polly, like in the neck, I think?
Yeah, but some reason something happened and she didn't end up doing that.
Yeah. Oh, see.
I can't remember. See, with two of us together, we don't even remember that part.
Right.
The reason, anyway, it didn't happen. She didn't stab her with the syringe. But the reason why we're like forgetting stuff is because back to what you said, it was just days upon days of this it being down in that basement. Then
Right.
down, brings her food. Something happened.
Right.
She goes back up. Comes back down. Something happens. She goes back up. Somebody, the brother shows up. Blah blah blah. A police
Right.
blah,
Right.
blah, blah. It's just dragging. If I was watching a movie like this and it was dragging that long, I probably would turn it off. Seriously.
Right.
It's just
Right.
like, okay, let's just get to the point of it.
Right. Right. So then you keep reading because you want to get to what is it? You know,
Yeah,
what's going to happen here? Like nobody's even got killed yet, like a typical Frieda McFadden movie
exactly.
or not movie book.
So Denise, I'm gonna let you sum it up because I never ever do spoilers in my videos, so I don't even know what I'm supposed to say.
Oh, okay. So I wish we could remember what happened with that syringe. It makes me want to look about that syringe. I can't remember because it didn't go well. But anyway, now Polly's trying to make her deliver the baby.
Yes, I knew there was a key part.
Yeah,
Yes.
she's trying to get because she sees Tegan's feisty. Now this is where I like Tegan.
Mm-hmm.
Tegan is feisty, but still Tegan thinks Hank is bad.
Still.
She still thinks it. Hank ain't even came down there, but maybe once after she stabbed her, you know, and he told her he understood why she stabbed her, but he was like, don't, you know, I understand whatever. He said, but don't you ever touch my wife again. Then she like peed on herself or something.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Is that what happened?
Yeah, I think she peed on herself. Yeah.
Right, or so wanted to or something.
Mhm.
One time she did be like, and which I probably would have been done if I was trapped in some basement pregnant and stuff. But so what's her name went, she gave her some brew. Some midwives brew or
Yeah, I
something.
think she Googled it or something, some kind of tea you can make.
Yeah.
So she went to the store and bought all the ingredients and everything. She came back and she brought it and she gave Tegan some of it.
Right. And Tegan drank it and she was starting to feel really sick and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And Hank was he was over it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember if he saw that brew or what, but he was really starting to be over it. And the crazy talk that she was doing about them taking the baby and stuff like that. And she needs to make her have that baby and everything. But then Polly went somewhere and I can't remember where.
I know where.
Oh,
Remember,
okay.
she faked and lied and called the pharmacy and said she was Dr. So-and-so and needed a
Right.
prescription because Tegan's her leg was getting infected
That's
now.
right.
And if it gets infected, that baby's going to be infected pretty soon.
Right.
None of her plan is going to work, whatever. So she knew she had to fix that. So she pretended like she was a doctor, called the pharmacy and gave a prescription to herself.
Right.
And she was going to the pharmacy to go pick it up.
Okay. And so as she's at the pharmacy, Hank comes back home from work and he gets Tegan. Tegan's up there talking about, no, don't take, I'm scared, you know, just fighting him. And like, he's trying to help her. And I guess I get it, but it's like, don't you kind of see now it's not really him?
Yeah. She had no proof.
Right.
That he did anything wrong because all he did was help her. She would have been dead and frozen in that car if he never would have saved her. Exactly. All that time, if he wanted to kill her or do Lord knows what to her, he could have did it. She was there several days.
Right.
Polly wasn't stopping him or nothing like that. So them assumptions, it was starting to annoy me.
It was.
All the way up till they turned in the hospital parking lot.
All the way, she's
like, no.
Yeah.
Please don't hurt me, all this kind of stuff.
The hospital right in front of her.
Right.
It's like, where are you taking me? To the hospital.
To the hospital.
And that's the part I didn't like. And that's why I said they made her like naive because she was just determined to think Hank was the villain.
Right.
Polly never even said Hank was a villain. Polly made nothing till that. And she's the one giving you, every time she give you something, you waking up drowsy and, you know. So, but Hank was just really calm and chill. And he took her to the hospital. Mm-hmm. And then just a whole bunch of barrage of stuff happens. And this is when it picks up. Finally, we're at the hospital.
They could have cut out like 50 pages in between.
Right.
It just
made
him at the hospital.
Yeah. So then Polly found out Hank took her to the hospital. And guess what? Polly put on her old nursing outfit, her scrubs and stuff, and a badge. Polly's going to go up there and finish this thing off.
Mm-hmm.
She supposed to bring a gun or some scissors or something.
I think it's some scissors. She put in her
Yeah.
little pocket in her scrubs or whatever.
Mhm. And she was just gonna stab her. I don't know how she thought she was gonna get away with this and still get the baby, but that's what she was gonna do. Because now at this point, she was like, Polly really loved Hank, and Hank loved Polly.
Mm-hmm.
But Hank was just like he was real concerned about her. He scared she was gonna try to kill herself. She kept saying she was okay or whatever. But then when he went off to work or what have you, that's when she put on those scrubs. And this is after they took Tegan to the hospital. He took her to
Mm-hmm.
the hospital. And so she tried to act like she was kind of okay. And that's when she put on those scrubs when went up to the hospital to go kill Tegan.
But to her surprise, as she was looking in the hospital room, in Tegan's hospital room,
Right.
she saw Tegan's brother in there
Mm-hmm.
who had came to visit Tegan,
Mm-hmm.
allegedly, right?
Mm-hmm.
He was, I guess Tegan was knocked out something. He was putting something into her, what do you call it? IV,
Right.
right?
Yep. Mm-hmm. So he was putting some in her IV. And then Polly just kind of came to herself and she's like, he's trying to kill her. And Jackson had been by to
Tegan.
visit her. Huh?
Tegan came to herself.
Yeah, Tegan, no, Polly did.
Oh, you was really saying Polly? Oh,
Yes, Polly all of a sudden, instead of her wanting to kill her, she didn't want him to kill her, and she decided not to kill.
right, right.
So she stopped him, yelled at him or something. Jackson had been by earlier to visit. Tegan noticed that Jackson the lawyer and her brother seemed to have known each other.
Right, right.
But Jackson went to, out because Tegan was kicking him out because she thought he was a jerk. He's friends with Simon Lamar and all of that. And she thought her brother was her protector, but little did she know that he was actually trying to kill her.
Mm-hmm.
Long story short, the brother had some type of business deal with Simon Lamar. But if Tegan told about Simon Lamar what he did, Simon Lamar was not going to do that because he had a ski resort.
Right.
And so if he did that deal wasn't going to go through. So he wanted her to be quiet so that he could get that deal. He still resented her for something that happened a long time ago that we aren't even going to go into.
Yeah.
So he was trying to kill her. Him and Jackson had met before. Jackson didn't know he was going to try to kill her and, and all of that. But yeah, so basically he made it so that her brakes didn't work in her car, that she didn't just skid off the road.
Right,
The
right.
brakes had been tampered with. He wanted her to bring the flask that he left at her house so it looked like she had been drinking and driving.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
If she had to go to jail or what have you, whatever, so she shut up so he could get his deal. And that was the twist. Hank was good the whole time. He should have stood up to Polly a long time ago. But he, finally he kicked in. It really was like over like 4 days or 5 days. I mean, she still shouldn't have been there that long, but
Right.
and then another little interesting thing happened.
You want me to tell it?
Yeah.
You talking about Hank? You talking about
Yeah.
Hank?
Yeah.
So I don't remember exactly what happened. I think didn't Hank and Polly go home
Yeah.
on the hospital stuff?
Mhm.
And they went home and police are surrounded around their neighbor's house, who we mentioned earlier. There's a
Right.
little girl, maybe 7 or 8 or something, named
Yeah.
Sadie, who
Mhm.
is abused, neglected by her old drunk dad.
Right.
And he didn't want Polly making her no food, and she couldn't come over and all that kind of stuff. Polly was just trying to help her or whatever.
Right.
So anyway, they come home. There's police tape all around, sirens going, cops, flooding the place and everything. And they look around, and what did they say had happened?
It looked like he had fell down drunk in
Yeah,
the
the
snow
dad.
and suffocated because
Mm-hmm.
he was too drunk to, he might have hit his head and he was too drunk to get himself up. So
Right.
yeah. And then we see, and there was a little part like Hank kind of looked closely at something or whatever. And yeah, and in my mind, I'm like, Hank did it. That's like the first time I ever figured out something.
Yeah.
Hank, he didn't die on his own.
And then if you tie that back, because you're wondering the prologue that I mentioned way back in the beginning of this
Right.
video, somebody's laying face down in the snow or something. I don't know, should I do it or whatever.
Right.
Tie that back. I honestly, when I read the book, Denise, I had forgot that whole prologue was even happened.
I remember you saying
I
that.
was like, what?
Yeah.
And so come find out the beginning of it was Hank, and he had killed that drunk dad. I can't
Right.
remember the drunk dad's
Because
name, but
he went over their house for something.
Mhm.
And when the Hank opened the door, he was all drunk or whatever. And then the little girl came to the door and her face was all bruised up.
Right.
And
Yeah.
at first Hank, he might have punched him, but it wasn't, it was just like one good punch.
Right.
But then the guy said something mean or said something like to the little girl, and
Mhm.
Hank went in.
Right. Right.
So the end is cute because Sadie ends up living with Hank and Polly.
Yes, they get their kid
Yeah,
finally.
they
They
get their
want it.
kid. Sadie, the little girl, and Hank are always whispering together. Polly, she doesn't know. She doesn't know Hank killed that man, but they end up getting to adopt her. And but the secrets between the little girl and Hank is the little girl's not mad.
Nope.
Her life was saved and everything. So like her and Hank have a little special relationship. Tegan never tells on Polly and Hank because she feels like they both saved her life twice.
Right.
Really, I say Hank saved her life twice and Polly once.
So a total of 3 times they
Yeah,
helped
in the book it said twice. I'm like that.
her. But anyway, all in all, like you said, I give it 3 point something stars or whatever. It's a good, like we're saying stuff like that we found was wrong with it, and we're saying that it was drawn out in some
Right.
spots, but it was a good book though.
It was a good book.
It was a page turner because you spent so much time in that basement. Of course, you want to
Right.
find out what's going to happen. So
Yeah.
it's
Like
good.
what? Who? Okay. Nobody's even. It's so point blank. Okay. Polly has an issue, and she's trying to keep her and get the baby. Hank ain't really going for it, but he don't want to. That's not a mystery.
No.
So, but then the mystery turned around like somewhere back, with her
Right.
brother. So that was good.
Yeah, that was good. That was good.
Yeah. Yep. So that after all this time.
You guys, I want to know what everybody else thinks that read this book.
Right.
You feel it's one of Frieda's better ones, one of her worst? Did you like it, love
Right.
it, hate it? I want to know what everybody else thinks. I know
Me
you're
too.
kind of critical and stuff, but it's
Yeah.
all good.
It is. And I feel okay being critical with her books because I still like it.
Exactly. And when
Like
she
it's
come
not
out,
like it's like I'm like, don't read it. There's a couple books. If you hear me go mute and I just basically now I'm about to tell it. If I just basically just kind of say, this is a love story, and I don't really say anything. And if you like this kind of stuff, it's good. I didn't
No.
really like it. I like this book. I liked it. But
Right.
it just wasn't my thing. Like give me
Exactly.
the office.
Yeah.
What is it called? The coworker. I like that setting. Give
Yeah.
me that.
And see, like Frieda's book, The X, was the
Yeah.
X. Yeah, I could not stand. I don't like that book at all. But it never
Oh,
stopped me.
wow.
I still will read everything Frieda comes out with.
You're
So
right.
yeah.
Right. And it's not even a critique on Frieda McFadden. It's just
Mhm.
your personal preference.
Exactly.
So you've got to keep making different types of books.
Right.
Within the psychological thriller genre. It's just everything's not going to be your exact cup of tea, but it does not take away from her writing. So,
Right.
yeah. So that's it. I definitely want to hear. Some people I felt like, and everybody's entitled to their opinion. I've been seeing reviews where people are just practically cussing or they are cussing and talk about how horrible it is. I don't think it warrants all that at all, but just say what you got to. Well, I can't tell anybody how to review.
And also, for those of you who don't know who talking about they had to DNF it because of all the triggers and stuff, on Frieda McFadden's website, she gives you all the triggers for all her books.
That's
So
good
if
because
you
everybody doesn't do that.
yeah, she don't have to do that. If you get triggered by things, which this one is understandable. Completely.
Right. This one is.
I'd recommend you go to her website before reading any of her books, and then you can figure out what the trigger warnings are.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And do that with everything.
Mm-hmm.
Movies, even though they, at the beginning they'll have that, it contains this and that. But you can Google all books. You can Google movies, TV shows, everything. Say trigger warnings and that. More than likely somebody else has Googled it. Somebody else has chimed in on what it is. You can find that information. So we have to be responsible readers as well.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you like this video, thumbs up. Look, I'm taking over your video.
I forgot.
If you're not already subscribed to the Book Nerds channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and the notification button. And also subscribe to my channel as well. I'm Toni Reads. So I post book videos as well. I only read thrillers though. So if you don't like thrillers, don't even bother going to my channel. But yeah.
Okay, you all have a great day and be blessed and be book nerdy.
Bye.